Wichita and throughout the world to make everyone smarter, wiser, and happier.
Good afternoon and welcome to Your Hour. I'm Cheryl Nutt.
And I'm Ron Nutt.
And?
And this is May is the month of flowers, and I wanted to bring you a flower today.
Wow.
So we have that. Also, I'm going to educate
I
you
accept
just
cash
a bit.
too.
You really? I want to educate you a little bit too. Do you realize that today is Pierce Brosnan's birthday? He's 54 years old. Janet Jackson is 40, and Billy Martin is 78.
I didn't send a single one of them a card.
I know it. And do you realize this flower behind us is a lily?
I do now.
Okay. And the lily has, you notice it has, on each layer of petals, it has 3 petals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, buttercups have 5. Daisies have 34, 55, or 89 petals. All of them.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't change.
She loves me. He loves me not.
So if you're going to do that, you need to go with a daisy. Now, the interesting thing is these are all part of a Fibonacci sequence. And this is an Italian that came up with the fact that in nature these numbers, 1, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so forth, all reoccur in different forms. And it also has to do with how many rabbits can reproduce in a year.
I'm not going there.
Anyway, speaking of reproduce, what do we got today?
Well, today we're going to hear from Hunter Health Clinic, Pam Harjo and Olinda Harbaugh. They're going to talk about the diabetes prevention program. Carolyn Dodson's going to fix red snapper with artichoke hearts. And Saban Collier from Portfolio Financial Group is going to talk about financing options. So, big show, got a lot going on today. Stick around.
Don't go away. We'll be back with Pam Harjo and Olinda Harbaugh from the Hunter Health Clinic.
That's my neighbor Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a big mistake. Hey, Joe, think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have the utilities marked before you start digging?
I'm not digging very deep. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
Dad, the TV's out. Internet too.
Remember, safe digging always starts with a free call to 811. Oh, what a knucklehead.
When your yard needs a cleanup and you need help. When your yard needs mowing and your neighbor's yard looks like this. Your shrubs need some trimming. Wichita Lawn Care does it all. Commercial and residential lawn maintenance. Fully insured, offering contactless billing to keep you safe. Fair, dependable, and on time. Services to match the budget. Excellent customer service. A Christian family business. Highly recommended on Google. Wichita Lawn Care LLC. Owner Adam Fry. 316-393-4162. We take pride in what we do.
Welcome back to Your Hour. I'm here now with a couple of ladies from Hunter Health Clinic. We have, this is Olinda Harbaugh and Pam Harjo, and they're here to talk about the diabetes prevention program.
Yes. We have 2 programs at Hunter Health Clinic that focus on diabetes prevention. One is for Native Americans, and it's a special diabetes prevention program through Indian Health Services, and that's going well. Another is through the United Methodist Ministries Health United Methodist Health Ministries Fund.
That's easy for
yes.
you to say.
And that is equally a lot of fun and is out in the community for all populations. And right now we're going to start at our Brookside Satellite Clinic a new exercise program, and I think I gave you the flyer. You put it under your sheets.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for keeping track of me. Yes, you did.
And that's going to begin on the 17th And it's going to be at the 2760 South Roosevelt address in Plainview at our Brookside Clinic.
And it's Spanish and English?
Yes,
Okay.
and we're going to have education as far as nutrition education, label reading, portion control, and then we will have light aerobics and other things that we take into the community. Olinda has some dice that she can explain to you that we do for our exercise, fun exercise.
Okay.
Okay, one of the things that we really try to focus on in our diabetes prevention is preventing diabetes can be fun. So we've invested in some tools that we use to make it fun, and one of those tools are these dice. And you roll one and it'll tell you what kind of exercise you must do. Arm circle, jumping jacks or sit-ups, push-ups, or toe touches. Then you roll the next one and it tells you how many times you have to do that.
Okay.
So we have a lot of fun, not only doing it, but seeing who can't do it. And then one of the other fun things that we do is we have this ball. And we toss the ball up. I do this sometimes in our waiting room at our diabetes clinic. And when you catch the ball, you want to hold those?
You bet.
Your finger will light on one of the numbers, and that's the question that you have to answer. For instance, if I tossed this to you and it was on question number 46, it says, what is a deficiency disease caused by the lack of iodine? You might know the answer and you might not. Another one might be
What is the answer?
thyroid.
Oh, okay.
What is a disease caused by a lack of vitamin C? Well, that was scurvy. Remember whenever we had they called the British soldiers limeys?
Sure.
And they gave them the limes? Well, that was a disease that was prevented by vitamin C.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize where the term limeys came from.
That's where it came from. So this is kind of fun, and when we do this in the clinic, sometimes if they get the right answer, I'll give them an apple or something like that.
Good.
But fun is part of what we're about in preventing diabetes, and one of the reasons why that is because exercise is extremely important. We have an epidemic of obesity in this country, and a lot of it is because everything is so convenient and we don't get the exercise that we really need. So we focus not only on exercise but healthy eating, but it does all work together when it comes to preventing diabetes.
And diabetes has reached pretty epidemic proportions, has it not?
Yes, it has in all populations, but especially hard hit are the Native American population
Really?
with diabetes. Yes.
Is there a particular reason for that? Do you know?
Well, there are several reasons, but one is we have an already compromised immune system, and we can't, if we have a diabetic in our background, or someone has given birth to a baby over 9 pounds, a parent has been diabetic. We have built into our genes a tendency to become diabetic, and then with the other health conditions that accompany many Native Americans, we just tend to develop diabetes sooner and more often than other populations. And I did want to tell you that we do have a lot of fun. We had one exercise class that was dance, and Olinda and I went to that, and we really exercised and had a lot of fun and kept up an hour exercise, and so
And I could do the electric slide.
yeah.
Very good.
Took me 3 or 4 of the sessions, but I did master the electric slide.
Well, that's very cool.
But we do have fun, and those that come to our sessions are regular people, and just wanting to get healthier, wanting to be more flexible, having more stamina, and it's just a matter of, are you going to feel better when this is over? And that's all we're after. We're not after a big change in your weight, things like that, but a change in how often you exercise and just eat healthier.
It's all about lifestyle, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And since you mentioned that word lifestyle, we use a curriculum called Lifestyle Balance, and this is the curriculum that was used in the diabetes prevention study that was funded through the NIH.
We're going to have to talk about it
Okay.
another time.
All
I'm
right.
sorry, ladies, we're out of time. It went so quickly, but we'll be back in a couple of minutes with more Your Hour.
We'll be back with a blast from the past. Carolyn Dodson, red snapper, and artichoke hearts.
As in all human conflict, adults fight and children suffer. Today, 7.5 million children in Ukraine need to find water and shelter. They need safety and school. They need a place to sleep and comfort in the dark. Show them the world cares. Support UNICEF. On the ground in Ukraine, we won't stop until every child is safe. UNICEFUSA.org/Ukraine.
Good morning from the Microwave Kitchen. This morning we are going to do fish. I've had a lot of requests to do some fish dishes, and we're going to do red snapper with artichoke hearts, and I think you'll find it very unusual and very delightful. The first thing we're going to do, though, is teach you a little bit about garlic. When you're choosing buds, you know they're very fresh if the sternum is very flexible and soft. But to release that pressure so that all that wonderful garlic flavor comes out, instead of just peeling and chopping, we smash. This releases all of that good garlic flavor. Where this is still hard, now we simply smash. And the peeling comes right off. There's no need to peel like we used to. We can chop, and you'll get all of that very strong, rich aroma that you wouldn't get otherwise. Now we're going to put our garlic in with some green onions and some butter. Chop a little fresh parsley. It is nice to use the fresh if you have it, otherwise the dried, but especially for this, because this is a very pungent aromatic sauce that goes on this fish. Now, we are going to microwave this or saute for about 1.5 minutes. And I will remove my little lemon that I have microwaved for about 20 seconds. This will give us at least 1/3 more juice. Any fruit like this, just by microwaving just a few seconds, you will get much more juice out of it. Now we'll continue to chop. We're using fresh mushrooms. They can be left in rather large slices, and they do not need to be pre-cooked because they are very, porous. They don't take nearly as long to cook as do your onions because they are very dense, and they were also cut in very small pieces. This will cook in the amount of time that it takes the sauce of the fish. We'll finish cutting our mushrooms here, to which we'll add to the sauce. We're going to take a break for an announcement now, and we'll be right back to continue with our dish. Back again. Our sauce is nice and hot. We're going to add the fresh mushrooms, blending that butter, parsley, onion, and that fresh garlic. Chop our lemon. Look how freely our lemon juice pours, leaving lots left. Stir that around. Chop a few artichokes. Just slice those into nice slices. And then we're going to take our meat or fish. Unlike your regular meats and poultries that take 6 minutes a pound, fish is a breed all itself. it takes between 3 and 5 minutes a pound, because remember, it is very, very delicate. So it won't take nearly as long to cook. We'll cook shellfish around 3 minutes a pound and regular fish around 5 minutes, especially because we're going to have a sauce on this, so it will take longer than just broiling. We will pat this to get it good and dry. That is important. Put the thickest portions to the outside. A scale is very important so you will know exactly how much weight you're dealing with. Nice big thick portions to the outside where they'll get the heaviest of concentration. The microwave's cooking in all directions, 1 inch to 1.5 inches, down and up. And in the center, where the parts are thinner, we'll only get 2-way cooking. Point those small ends toward the inside. Now, we will stir this. Top it right over our fish. This is a very unusual dish. Add the spices you like, but of course here we've added the parsley and lots of cayenne. And now we're going to sprinkle with some paprika for color. This will be covered with wax paper so that there will be some steaming that will take place. We do not want it drying, but yet we don't want it completely steaming. So as you can see, for all of our color, and I think you'll find this a very, very interesting, not only texture, you cook this until the fish starts to flake, but remember, 3 to 5 minutes, then it must stand. Then we go into what is known holding time. That's your cooling down period. Cook just like this. The red snapper fillets are dried with a paper towel and placed in a flat baking dish in proper arrangement. Next, in a 4-cup measure, we saute onion, garlic, parsley for 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes at 100% power. Next, we add our lemon juice, mushrooms, artichokes, and spices. Microwave this for 2 minutes at 100% power until heated through. Top the fillets with sauce and paprika. Cover with wax paper. Cook for 7 to 8 minutes, 100% power, until fish flakes easily. Let stand covered 3 to 4 minutes before serving.
Yeah, that was good. That was good fish too.
It looked good. I like red snapper anyway, yeah. And that's kind of an interesting sauce, the artichoke hearts, and yeah, looked good. I'll have to try that sometime.
Don't forget you can get that recipe. Just come to our website and look for Carolyn's recipes.
We'll be right
Become
back.
a mystery shopper or rent an ad car with Stacy Johnson when your hour continues.
Every year, the U.S. Department of the Treasury receives about 1.4 million reports of problems with paper checks. Checks can be lost, stolen, or delayed. If you receive Social Security payments by paper check, Treasury wants you to know about a safer, more convenient option. The Direct Express Prepaid Debit MasterCard. It's new and available to Social Security recipients, even those without bank accounts. Call 1-877-212-9991 or visit usdirectexpress.com.
nice to let someone else do the cooking and the dishes. But this kind of fun can have a hefty price tag attached, unless, that is, you know how to combine the right ingredients.
We get our food paid for up to a capped amount, and a lot of companies then give you a token, or maybe $5, $7, just to sort of cover your time of gasoline and that sort of thing.
Tom and his wife Audrey eat free because they're mystery shoppers. Someone posing as a customer so they can secretly rate how any business, including restaurants, treat their customers. Sounds delicious, but this isn't actually the free lunch you might think, because you're going to have to file a report.
You got to go into the internet, and they have the questionnaires come up on the internet, and you use your mouse and you click on your appropriate answers, or you have to type in an answer a lot of times.
Still, if eating free or even getting paid to eat sounds like your cup of tea, here's the kind of person shopping services will be looking for.
You're committing to saying that you are a reliable person, that you're interested in performing mystery shops, and you will take it seriously, and that you'll be observant on the mystery shop.
And be aware that all shopping services aren't alike and that rip-offs abound. So before you start signing up, first digest this advice.
If somebody says that you have to pay us $10 to get on the list, forget it, because there's others that don't work that way.
Bottom line, if you're detail-oriented and willing to do a little bit of work, you might just find yourself a gig as a mystery shopper. Okay, it's not a totally free lunch, but it's likely to be as close as you're ever going to get. Toby Snyder found a way to cut the cost of her car rental by 2/3, but she had to agree to do something a bit ostentatious to do it.
The cost of this car, this ad car, is $10 a day plus taxes, or for the length of time I'm taking it, $56, as opposed to $160.
In more ways than one, this is a screaming deal. This small Florida rental car company is renting cars for $10 a day to those willing to drive an ad. But so far, they've only got one car, and it's only in one South Florida location. But this isn't the only way to get behind the wheel of a moving billboard. There's been a rumor around for decades that some companies will pay you hundreds of bucks a month to turn your personal car into a billboard. Is it true or just urban legend? Well, maybe a bit of both. The company who supplied us with this tape says they do indeed hook up drivers with companies, and those selected do indeed get paid every month to turn their car into a moving billboard. They also admitted, though, that they had a lot more willing drivers than they had companies, and when we asked to interview someone who's actually getting paid to drive a billboard, they declined. At least, however, they let you register for the driver program free of charge, and they had their company address and phone number right here on their website, as opposed to the many websites we found that wanted to charge around $30 to sell you some list of companies and had no corporate contact info. Neither of these are good signs. Bottom line, at least it's theoretically possible to get paid to drive an ad, but don't ever, ever pay money up front, because that is a trip to Rip-Off City. There are simple rules that keep you in control when you're behind the wheel. It's no different when your car's in the shop. Following some simple rules will keep you in control then too. For example, rule number 1, establish your mechanic's credentials.
Every shop and every mechanic in that shop should be ASE certified.
So just as you look for your doctor's diploma on the wall, look for ASE stickers and patches at your shop. Rule number 2,
you would like a written estimate before any repairs are started.
This written estimate is crucial because now you can see exactly what your mechanic is charging for parts and what they're charging for labor. Want to see if it's fair? Simple. Call an auto parts store and see what they charge for the same brand and quality parts. If your mechanic is charging more, now's the time to tell them. What about labor? You can check not only the hourly rate you're being charged, but also if the number of hours fits the job.
We use two references. We use Chilton's data manuals, which is a hardcover book. We also use All Data, which is computer software system, and that basically tells you industry standards for any given job on a vehicle.
And you can ask to see that. So now you've verified your mechanic's qualified and the parts and labor are priced right, which only leaves one other potential problem and one last rule. What if you suspect you don't even need the repair?
If you're not sure, get a second opinion. You should be comfortable speaking to your mechanic and let them explain to you what it is that exactly is not functioning properly.
Getting qualified mechanics, understanding parts, understanding labor, and maybe getting a second opinion. Simple steps that'll keep your next trip to the mechanic from being a wrenching experience. For Money Talks, I'm Stacy Johnson.
Well, you learn a lot of things here today.
You know, as expensive as it is to get your car serviced or repaired, I guess that's really good advice to know, to be really comfortable with your mechanic and know that they're qualified to do the things that you're asking them to do. Because you're going to pay for it anyway. You might as well have it done right.
Just like a doctor, you want to get a second opinion, go do it.
Yeah. That reminds me, I have a good second opinion joke, but I won't tell it right now.
No, they're not telling you.
Anyway, we'll be back in a couple of minutes with more Your Hour. Don't go away.
Coming up on KCTU Reports, Wichita and Sedgwick County remember those who gave their lives.
That's my neighbor. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a very big mistake. Hey, Joe, don't you think it'd be a good idea if you called 811 and get your underground utilities marked?
This isn't my first project.
I think there's an oil pipeline goes through here somewhere.
It's on my neighbor's side.
Oh, you think so? Remember, safe digging always begins with a free call to 811. You need a towel there, Slick?
Welcome back to Your Hour. Coming up shortly, we're going to hear from Saban Collier with Portfolio Financial Group, and following that, we're going to hear from Bucky Walters with Waltered Down
He's
News.
always funny, yeah. But first, let's go hear what's happening today in the news by R.J. Dickens in the newsroom.
Nominated for a 2005 Heartland Emmy Award for Best Dayside Newscast, KCTU reports in Your Hour. President Bush's speech makes its way into the Kansas governor's race. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm R.J. Dickens. It's 67 degrees at Wichita's Mid-Continent Airport. Here's what you'll be talking about this afternoon. In the wake of his address to the nation on immigration last night, Kansas Governor Kathleen Sebelius says more information is needed about President Bush's plan to send 6,000 National Guard troops to the Mexican border. Prior to the president's speech, the governor said that neither she nor other governors she had spoken with had received any information from the White House about their plans. Kansas Adjutant General Todd Bunning told the Topeka Capital-Journal that timing would be everything if Guardsmen were used. Bunning says another one-year rotation would not be welcomed by a lot of National Guard troops who've already been activated for duty in Iraq and backing up troops at home. In his speech last night, Bush proposed sending some 6,000 National Guardsmen to the border for a year while additional Border Patrol officers are trained. Guardsmen would conduct surveillance, build fences and barriers. Bunning said he was told by Pentagon officials that the president would request National Guard troops from state governors and that unlike Iraq, the troops would not be federalized. It is not known whether troops called up would be required to remain the entire year. Sebelius says she hasn't been contacted by the White House regarding the use of Kansas troops. The state has had 5,000 National Guard troops out of a total of 7,700 deployed here and abroad since the September 11th attacks. Currently, 1,000 National Guardsmen are serving overseas, mostly in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Kuwait. The frontrunner to oppose Sebelius in November praised the president's speech last night. State Senator Jim Barnett of Emporia issued a statement accusing Sebelius of not taking border security seriously. Barnett said her concern about lack of communication by the White House is keeping with her position in support of legislation to allow undocumented aliens to hold driver's license. Moments ago, city and county officials commemorated the lives of the 26 Wichita and Sedgwick County law enforcement officers who gave their lives in the line of duty during the annual Law Enforcement Memorial Service in the City Council chambers. Wichita Mayor Carlos Mayans and Sedgwick County Commission Chair Ben Scortino Each read proclamations, and remarks were made by Chief of Police Norman Williams and Sheriff Gary Steed. In news from your neighborhood, the Bel Air City Council meets tonight to discuss streetlights in the Central Park development. The council will also recess into executive session to discuss personnel issues. On the police blotter, a case of cybercrime. A Park City business found its checks stolen from the company's computer yesterday morning, but because the owner of Bond's Car Wash is a Wichita resident, Wichita police are investigating. A 32-year-old Derby man was killed when he lost control of his motorcycle near Southeast Boulevard in Wausau. The accident occurred this morning when Wichita police say Richard Boggs was apparently traveling at a high rate of speed northbound on K-15 and struck a guardrail. The force of the accident threw the cycle into the southbound lane. Passers-by spotting the accident were initially unable to find the man, who had rolled down an embankment. The man was transported to St. Francis Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 1:17 a.m. It's 69 degrees at the KCTU studios in downtown Wichita. Taking a look at current conditions. Winds are from the north-northwest at 16 miles per hour. Relative humidity is 59%, and the barometric pressure is 30.16 inches. Storm Predator 5 radar only shows ground clutter in its 150-mile sweep. Your Storm Predator 5 ICAST for Wichita, Park City, and vicinity. This afternoon, partly cloudy with a 20% chance of showers, highs in the mid-70s, north winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy, then clearing, lows 50 to 55, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And for Wednesday, mostly sunny, highs 80 to 85, northwest winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. On Wall Street, no real change as the afternoon session gets underway. The indices continue to trade near session lows. At noon Eastern, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 12 3/4 to 11,416. The Nasdaq was down 10 1/3 to 2228. The Standard & Poor's 500 was down just over 2.5 to 1292. And the KCTU River City Index of Wichita and the Northland area's 20 largest publicly traded employers was down $3.19 to 463.73. Here's a look at stocks of local interest. In sports, tough luck righty Scott Alarton will take the mound, trying to win for the first time this season as the Royals open a rain-shortened 3-game set against the Indians at 6:05 tonight. And finally, it was just a penny, but to one electric company it was enough to cut off power to a home. Jacqueline Williams of Flint, Michigan had an electricity bill of $1,662.08 and paid $1,662.07. That wasn't enough for the power company, which blacked her out for 7 hours last Wednesday. CMS Energy Corporation told Williams the power would not be turned on until the penny was received. Williams told the Flint Journal, "I went down there, paid my penny, and got a receipt." Shortly after, the electricity was turned back on. A Consumers Energy spokesman said the utility had no choice in the matter, though he was not aware of any similar incidents where the service was stopped for 1 cent. Williams, who is on a fixed income, says she prays she doesn't find herself in the same situation again. Well, I'll be in at 7 o'clock tonight for the River City Forum, and Cheryl will be back with Siobhan Collier as your hour continues. Ron?
You know, they could put a little bowl up there on the front of that bookkeeper's thing and put pennies in it. Just
like they do at Quick Trips.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of asinine.
That is ridiculous.
Yes, it really is.
I agree. Anyway, that won't happen here. We'll be right back with more Your Hour.
Yeah, we'll give you 2 cents for whatever.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Your home is your castle, and it's your biggest investment. It doesn't matter if it needs new exterior paint, new siding, a sunny new deck, a kitchen update with wallpaper removal, or new cabinets with a granite top. Your home can be like new with a paint job or flooring. With 9 years experience and 5 years as a licensed insured business, Los Reyes Painting and Remodeling does residential or commercial work for a reasonable price. To get your free estimate to make your castle look like new, call 316-409-0002.
The sharing economy shows no signs of slowing down. Like Uber and Airbnb, boating is getting in on the summertime fun. In fact, the industry has seen tremendous growth. BoatSetter, the country's largest boat sharing company, has seen a 78% increase in instant booked boat rentals since last year. In fact, women are 1.5 times more likely to rent a boat than other groups. Millennials and Gen Z are getting in on the action too. Nearly 70% of BoatSetter users are under the age of 44. Today, Jackie Baumgarten, founder of BoatSetter, joins us to discuss the current trends in boating and the share economy. Hi, Jackie. It's good to have you here.
Hi, Cheryl. Thank you so much for having me.
So, can you tell me, you said more women and young people are taking up boating. Why do you think it's become so appealing?
I truly believe it's because of the mission that we set out to make getting out on the water, having incredible experiences, accessible to anyone, anywhere. So in building BoatSetter, we made sure to strip away the barriers. First barrier, you don't have to have prior boating experience. We have the largest database of U.S. Coast Guard licensed captains, so anyone can get out on the water. The second barrier is, I don't know what to do if I get on a boat. Now you can search based on the experience you want to have. If you want to go out with your family on a pontoon boat, you can do that. If you want to go sailing, if you want to go out with girlfriends for a sunset cruise, you can do that. And we have a variety of experiences ranging from fishing to sport activities, from wake surfing, wakeboarding, and by providing the access and the reviews so people can see what people have said about the boat or the captain and making it easy. Within 48 hours, if you choose an instant bookable boat, you can get out on the water. It's these elements that have made it so easy for a broader demographic like women and younger demographics to get out on the water.
So, boat sharing, that's something I've not heard of before, but it makes sense. You can do that with so many different things. So tell me about boat sharing. How is that so have been catching on?
Absolutely. So it's one of the things that sets us apart. There are about 15 million privately owned boats here in the U.S., and they're getting used an average of 12 to 14 days a year. So they're very expensive, they're underutilized. And boat owners needed a way to be able to offset the cost of ownership. So when a boat owner lists their boat on BoatSetter, they have a legally compliant and insured platform because our GEICO policy kicks in during the rental to protect the boat owner, and the renter. And we enable them to be able to offset the cost of ownership and rent out the boat. Owners set the price. They decide who and when they want to take their boat out, and they can say whether or not their boat goes out only with or without a licensed captain. So it's an incredible opportunity now for people to, one, enjoy their boats more, offset the cost of ownership, but we're seeing something really amazing. We're seeing this shift towards entrepreneurship on the water. We have many owners who started with just one recreational boat who've now gone out and bought a second, a third, a fifth boat, and creating a fleet and a business around this.
They got a fleet. So, what protects the boat owner from damage to their boat from maybe an inexperienced boater?
So there is a security hold for every rental, and every rental is insured. And the boat gets approved by the insurance company, and when the boat goes out, the GEICO policy becomes primary and exclusive during the rental, and that protects the owner, the renter, and a captain if there's a captain aboard. And so that's what helps protect the owners in case of damage.
Okay. Yeah, because that was the first thought that came through my mind. What do you do if somebody messes it up?
Yep. Well, GEICO's a partner, and it's one of the things that sets Boatsetter apart from any other platform.
So if someone has no experience boating, how are they going to enjoy this experience?
They're going to go online, they're going to pick the boat that they want, and they're going to click the button, add a captain. And that's how they're going to get to go out without any stress or worry and enjoy themselves.
Well, that sounds like a good idea.
Yes.
Can the boat owner be the captain?
So now we're getting into U.S. Coast Guard regulations. If the boat owner is a licensed captain and limits it to 6 passengers, then absolutely. But otherwise, we have the largest database of licensed captains, and we can assign multiple captains to a boat so the renter can choose based on the reviews of that captain.
You guys have thought of everything. So if someone's interested in doing this, and why wouldn't they be, where can they go to learn more?
So it's very easy. You just go to your local app store and download the Boatsetter app. We have one for renters if you're interested in getting out on the water. If you're interested in listing your boat, we have a dedicated app for owners. Or you can just go to boatsetter.com and either start your search or your listing.
All right. Well, Jackie, this sounds like a lot of fun. So I really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me and for sharing the word about Boatsetter.
And we'll be back with more.
That's my neighbor Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a big mistake. Hey, Joe, think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have the utilities marked before you start digging?
I'm not digging very deep. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
Dad, the TV's out. Internet too.
Remember, safe digging always starts with a free call to 811. Oh, what a knucklehead.
Well, the federal government designated May 11th as the official end of the COVID-19 health emergency, but the virus is still active and the leading cause of death in the United States among the elderly and immunocompromised. So it's important to take precautions like getting vaccinated and masking, especially if you have a compromised immune system. And here to talk about the realities of navigating post-pandemic life are Dr. Dori Segev, Director at NYU Center for Surgical and Transplant Applied Research. And he's being joined by advocate and caregiver Tracy Shaw, Board Chair, IDF. Hi, it's good to have you both here today.
Hi, and thank you for having this conversation with us.
So, Dr. Segev, let's start with you. With the federal public emergency for COVID, the public health emergency is expiring. So how will that impact those that do have a compromised immune system?
So as you said, the public health emergency is ending, and that's a great celebration of science and medicine and all of us coming together to end the very, very bad part of the pandemic. But COVID is still around, and it's still causing problems. 10,000 hospitalizations in last week alone, hundreds of people dying still every day. And those who are most impacted by this are those who are immunocompromised. There are millions of people who are immunocompromised in this country, and they are at higher risk of what's happening with COVID and what will happen with COVID in the future.
Okay. So what do we need to know about the current risks among the immunocompromised people?
So those who are immunocompromised throughout the whole pandemic have been at higher risk of getting COVID, and if they get COVID, at higher risk that COVID disease will be more severe, like will cause hospitalization or might even cause them to die from COVID. So they've been carrying this through the entire pandemic, and that will continue to be a reality for anyone with a compromised immune system. There are going to be new variants. We know there are new variants every few weeks, and some may be more aggressive, and some may be more transmissible. And so they need to, those who are immunocompromised need to sit down with their doctors and come up with a plan to stay as protected as they possibly can, while the rest of us are done with the emergency, go back to our lives. Testing is going to be much less. There's going to be more virus out there because there's less emphasis on containing the virus, and that virus is going to mostly impact those who are immunocompromised.
Okay. So, Tracy, can you tell us how this change affects the immunocompromised community and how we can stay safe against the COVID-19 variants?
I really appreciate you asking that. When Dr. Segev talks about the millions of people, and it's likely we all know someone who's had an organ transplant, going through cancer treatment, lives with an autoimmune disease, or like my daughter, has an incomplete immune system. When we talk about big numbers, we forget that sometimes numbers are people. And so what has changed for them is that with COVID being less tracked and or likely more out there, right? More people out there being more cavalier, there's a higher level of vigilance on how can they take care of themselves. That's why we are so excited to be partnering with AstraZeneca in the Up the Antibodies campaign. Because what's really changed is now there's one resource where they can go and learn more about how to take care of themselves. But me as a caregiver, you as a coworker, a neighbor or friend or family in general has some place to go to learn about the most up-to-date CDC guidelines, the vaccinations, how masking is still a very legitimate and important part of staying safe. So what's changed? The change is that there's good information out there at uptheantibodies.com, and that ideally we're more aware and more empathetic to those who need us to be more caring around masking, vaccinations, and sensitive to what it means to live in a more vulnerable life.
Okay. Well, Tracy and Dr. Segev, did I say that correctly?
You did.
I want to thank both of you for joining us today and sharing this information.
Thank you, and I really encourage and invite your audience to check out uptheantibodies.com so that they can learn and share some really good information about continually staying safe because COVID is still here.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more.
When your yard needs a cleanup and you need help, when your yard needs mowing and your neighbor's yard looks like this, your shrubs need some trimming, Wichita Lawn Care does it all. Commercial and residential lawn maintenance, fully insured, offering contactless billing to keep you safe. Fair, dependable, and on time, services to match the budget, excellent customer service, a Christian family business, highly recommended on Google. Wichita Lawn Care LLC, owner Adam Fry, 316-393-4162. We take pride in what we do.
The book and movie, The Da Vinci Code, has really struck a nerve among many Americans. It's a novel, meaning it's fictitious. Yet there are now hundreds of books out there that are out to prove that Da Vinci's Code isn't true. Right. That's why it's called fiction. That's why they put the book in with the other books of fiction. I doubt if there's ever been another book before that's gone out to prove another fictitious book to be fiction. In the previews of the movie, it shows that there might be some questions as to who all was at the Last Supper. Hey, I tell you this, my friends and I were in the clear. I can guarantee you that none of us were there because we'd have all wanted separate checks. The Last Supper I had was Mother's Day. That was just this past Sunday. Actually, it was supposed to have been lunch or brunch. but they didn't get us seated until supper time. By the time we were served, the salad was frumpy, the meat was dry, but I found the wine to be fruity yet arrogant, much like the waiter. After the last 3 Mother's Days, I've come to the conclusion anyone who loves their mother doesn't take their mother out to eat on Mother's Day. What are you supposed to do, though? Are you supposed to tie her up in the kitchen and make her cook for you? Hey, Mom, come on, fix me something good to eat. It's Mother's Day. But, you know, so many of the ads leading up to Mother's Day, you know, all the Mother's Day specials, were almost that bad. I saw one ad that was Mother's Day roofing special. I suppose you get shingles on the, hey, Mom, get up on the roof and fix all those that hail damage. Got a special for you there, Mom. And there was a lawnmower Mother's Day special. I suppose maybe, hey, Mom, you're not going to have to push it anymore. We're going to let you ride this Mother's Day. And the weirdest one of all, though, I saw was a Mother's Day special on insect repellent. That's right, of course, that might come in handy when Mom's up there on the roof hammering those nails or out there mowing the lawn. Oh, well, I hope everybody had a happy Mother's Day, and I think my mother did too. Now, to those who complained so much that too much attention was paid to basketball during Wichita State's run to the Sweet 16, well, just look who's wearing a Wichita State sweatshirt. That's right, it's Bruce Willis. Became a Wichita State fan, evidently. Now, the other fellow on there is named Brian Grazier. Any of you who might know him or have any idea who he is, he's his producer. I'd appreciate it if you'd tell me something about him. You can just email me at bucky@buckywalters.us. That's .us, not .com, .us. People do this all the time after I do these commentaries. People call them and tell me how they hate them or, you know, whatever. I got an email from a viewer of my commentary last week when I was complaining about Wichita's obesity, and I praised those responsible for removing soda pop from the vending machines in the schools. Anyway, the lady who sent me the email said, here's what she said. She said, Mr. Walters, I went all through grade school, middle school, and high school drinking soda pop, and I still do. And my measurements are 37, 27, 37. And then she added, and the other legs the same. Yeah, pretty clever woman there and a good sport. You need to get down to the River Festival. You really do. If for no other reason, just to look at the people. You'll see people you never dreamed existed in this part of the free world. I mean, evolutionists are coming in. I mean, by the droves, just searching for the missing link. You know, why not go ahead and look for that? You can't look for a medallion anymore. Remember Mike Hayden, the former governor here in Kansas and currently head of hunting, fishing, and wildlife for the state? Well, he woke up one day last week hearing on TV that he had been appointed by President Bush to be the head of the CIA. Remember, he talked like this. Remember him? Well, he called a press conference in Topeka where he told reporters, I can't tell you how surprised I am to be the new chief of the Central Intelligence Agency. As a governor and head of wildlife, I had no idea that I was even qualified. I never have wiretapped anybody or set up a telephone data bank on surveillance on Americans. Oh, I did listen in on a couple of tom turkeys one time while sitting in a tree waiting to shoot them. I couldn't understand them, though. Well, at that time, a person handed him a note and which explained to him that it was actually a different Mike Hayden that had been named head of the CIA. And then the former governor said, oh, well, my bad. I guess I was just talking turkey. Didn't mean to get you all messed up in all this gobbledygook. Thank you. This is Bucky Walters with Waltered Down News.
He does a good Mike Hayden.
Yes, he does. Better than Mike Hayden does,
yeah,
actually. You know?
Yeah. And a lot easier to listen to.
What do we have coming up tomorrow?
Well, I was just getting there. Tomorrow we're going to have someone from Interworks Holistic Health Center, and it's a surprise at this point who it will be. And of
Now,
course,
I called that a grab bag before, but it's...
that
it
probably
no.
wasn't the best of terms to use.
No, no.
And then, of course, we'll have R.J. Dickens with KCTU Reports.
Grab bag of news.
And I have satellite interview, and I don't remember which one, but we'll have a satellite
Grab bag
interview.
of satellite. This is going to be a grab
yeah,
bag day.
Yeah, so just take your pick. So anyway, lots of stuff going on. One of the things that I wanted to remind people of too, and I mentioned this last night on the forum, I will be switching back with Dr. Nabil Siam coming the starting the week of the 5th of June. He will take Monday nights back, and I will take Thursday nights back.
Except for...
Well, except for the nights that we will be doing the
Park City
Cowboy games. And it just so happens that the first 3 Thursday nights in June, the first 3 that I would be doing, the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd, all 3 of those nights we will be doing Park City Cowboy games. So I won't be doing another River City Forum in June until the 29th.
The first Park City, you're going to have nights off, but you're going to work
Not
anyhow.
really.
The first Park City game is going to be the tail end of a doubleheader. It's going to be the Royals first. We're going to watch them play a game.
And that'll be on the 28th of May.
Right, and then directly following that game, about 4 o'clock, the Cowboys play, and that's up at the New Life Field up at Seneca and the 235.
Yeah, and you can see it from 235.
You get there off of
Actually,
Seneca.
you can see it from, is it 96 that runs by there?
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Most, yeah.
Anyway, but that'll be kind of fun. Baseball's not my favorite sport, but I do like going out and shooting the live sports. So.
Well, I'm here to tell you, keeping score on that's going to be a lot easier than basketball.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We look forward to doing. Also, we completed negotiations, in this fall. We will be doing the Butler County Junior College
football
Grizzlies, and they're national. This is a nationally ranked team, and large percentage the quarterbacks that go from there usually go to Nebraska or K-State.
Really?
Yes, and the biggest part of the line goes up there too. They just like a farm team for Nebraska or K-State. Good, excellent teams over there.
That's very good. So we'll be doing their football games. Well, some of them.
All the home games.
All the home games. Okay.
And it'd be from their field that they have. Well, they're getting ready to possibly build a new field. I think it's because we're coming over.
Yeah, obviously.
But the first year will be done in the old field, which is the old high school field. And that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I do like doing football.
We'll be doing the state-of-the-art to get the signal back over here instead of microwave. We're going to be doing the state-of-the-art IPTV, just like AT&T is doing. We'll be doing to get the signal back over here.
Very good. Well, I'm looking forward to
Fun
that.
time.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's program. We enjoyed bringing it to you, and we will be back tomorrow at noon.
If the Lord's willing, when the creeks don't rise, we'll see you tomorrow too.
Thanks for watching.
Have a great afternoon.
And I just knew, and it's such a cheesy thing to say, but like I knew the second he walked in, I'm like, this is going to change my